My name is Paavo Hanninen, and I live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Well, I have several hobbies, but one of the main ones is I read a lot. I like to read. But over the last, say, 8 to 10, 12 years, I really like history. I read a lot of that, and I also have gotten very interested in the history of my own family. Well, it started, I have an interesting background, our family. One of the more unusual ancestry matches of all time. I'm half Finnish. My father's family was from Finland, but my mother's family was from Mississippi. And a long time in Mississippi, a long history in Mississippi, but I really wasn't that knowledgeable about it. So I kind of wanted to learn about both sides. But the real reason I got so involved in my mother's side of the family, the Mississippi history, and what turned out to be a really big comprehensive study of Southern history, was that her father, who I found to be a very interesting person, was heavily involved in politics in the state of Mississippi in the mid-20th century. The past isn't dead. It's not even the past, as they say. And a lot of current events that we all live in these days, which race relations, civil rights. Well, it turned out when we started to dig into my mother's family's history, we were part of what would be considered the problem these days. Going back to the Civil War and beyond, they were, my mother's family, several branches of my mother's family were large landholders, large slaveholders, going back through the state of Mississippi, even back here to Alabama, into South Carolina and Virginia, owned thousands and thousands of acres and, as they would say, hundreds and hundreds of souls. She had, I believe, thinking on the spot here, but her great-grandfather was a person whose name was Alfred Hudson, and he actually was commander of a unit from Panola County, Mississippi, and he was killed in the afternoon of the first day of the Battle of Shiloh, which is a very famous Civil War battle. And he was under the command of people like Albert Sidney Johnston and John Breckinridge, who was a vice president of the United States and before the war broke out. But he was a Hudson, and so when you chase the Hudson family tree back, it goes back through Alabama, our particular branch. But if you chase it back all the way to Virginia, the Hudson family, it turns out Henry Clay, who was a very famous United States politician, ran for president 4 times, was United States Speaker of the House, even had a nickname. He was called the Great Compromiser. Henry Clay's mother was a Hudson. And if you chase it all the way back, and if you think in terms of just how do you share grandparents, if you go back to the early 1700s, our family and Henry Clay's family share grandparents. What do I think the value of genealogical research is to society? It's just natural for people to know where they came from and to understand their relationship to other people as they exist in the world today. As to the larger value to society, I just think it creates a dialogue and it creates a greater sense of community, because it turns out everybody's related to everybody in the long run.